I want to appreciate both those who reacted, and as well those who subscribe to this teaching. Both of you has helped me so far in this series. I received a book in my WhatsApp box. Somebody who is following us in this teaching sent that book into us. What was this book all about? It was an act. The book was How to Pervert Sex. The book was mainly written for different positional way of having perversing sex with one another. And when I read this book, it was very unimaginable. I never believed that such things do exist on the surface of the earth. In fact, my spirit nearly departed from me when I began to read this book. All sort of immoral act was written in this book. The man who sent it to me, number one, to let me know that he's following me, and number two, to make me believe in the reality of perversing sex. Do you know, the book was written by a pastor, and the book was about 400 pages. Almost all was about perverting sex. That is exactly what I'm saying about sexual perversion. That is what I'm saying. This episode, we made the 7th episode, apart from the 2 introductions that have been establishing my fact about the reality of sexual perversion. Okay. In this episode, I want to quickly discuss or share about what I call sodomic practice. The word sodomic is taken from the city Sodom. Sodom is a city, and when you hear the word sodomic, mean an act or a practice that takes place only in Sodom. When we are talking about football, we are talking about Brazil. When we are talking about football, we should talk about Portugal and some other country of the world like that. So when we talk of sodomy, and we are talking about perversing sex, let's refer it to the city of Sodom. Why did God decide to destroy the Sodom and Gomorrah of Bible days? Why? Because of their abominable and immoral practice. What we are sharing now is the clear picture of what was happening in city of Sodom and Gomorrah that makes God to destroy the city. Do you know what we are having now? What is happening around the world now is more worse in several percentage, even in 1000% than what was happening or what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, that it was destroyed by God. So anyone that is involved in the act is working under sodomy. In the book of Genesis chapter 19, when you read it from verse 1 to 10, Genesis chapter 19, when you read it from verse 1 to 10, give us clear picture of what I am saying and what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. 3 group of people feature in Sodom and Gomorrah in this Bible reference. Number 1, the angel of the Lord that represents the presence of God. Number 2, Lot and his family. Number 3 are the dwellers of Sodom and Gomorrah. Then, what is sodomy? We were talking about sodomy. What is sodomy? Sodomy, as I would define, is a form of immoral act that takes place within or without wedlock. Any immoral act that takes place either within wedlock or outside wedlock is a sodomy practice. Bible refers to what happened in city of Sodom and Gomorrah in that Genesis chapter 19. Bible refers to it in the New Testament, as you can see. In the book of Jude chapter 1 verse 7, the Bible says, even Sodom and Gomorrah and the city about them, in the manner of giving themselves to fornication and giving after strange flesh are set for an example of suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. That means what happened in city of Sodom and Gomorrah, the Bible says they are an example. They are figure. What take place in city of Sodom and Gomorrah is a picture or figure of what is going to happen in the later years, which we are experiencing now. The Bible even refers to it as a strange flesh. They are exercising strange flesh. That is strange thing that has never happened. And also, the Bible says they attracted vengeance of eternal fire. The place was destroyed by fire. In this Bible reference, I want us to bring out or observe two things in this Bible reference. Number one, sodomy attitude. The attitude of Sodom and Gomorrah. That is the attitude of Sodom. Whenever you see anybody, any family, any husband and wife, or any youth, any underage, or anybody that practices sexual perversion, you should know that it's an attitude of a city called Sodom and Gomorrah. And this attitude can take place or happen in the life of somebody by two medium. Number one, it could be borrowed. Somebody may borrow the attitude by the virtue of the person you move with, by the virtue of the group involved with, by the virtue of the environment he is in living, by the virtue of people he associates with. He might not have this attitude as an upbringing, but all of a sudden, because of the group he's moving with, and he begins to practice it. And number two, the attitude can be developed. Somebody may not have the attitude by upbringing. He may not have the attitude or inherited the attitude from his father, from his parents rather. But it could be developed himself. He may develop it himself and begin to practice the act. And number two things I want us to observe in this Bible reference is what I call sodomic act consequence. Sodomic act consequence. The first one, the attitude, you can see that in that Genesis chapter 19 verse 5. Please read it. Genesis chapter 19 verse 5. You see the clear picture about that attitude there. Male wanted to have sex with male and female also with female. Another point number two, which is sodomic act consequence. That is established in that Genesis chapter 19 from verse 11 to 28. Genesis chapter 19 from verse 11 to 28. We see the consequence. The consequence, these two things take place. Two things happen as the consequence in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And anybody that involved in this act, we experience these two things. Number one, blindness. The people were blindfolded. Anybody that involved in the activities of sexual perversion, we get his eyes blinded. When I say his eyes blinded, I'm not talking about physical eyes. The wisdom of God will depart from him. His understanding will be shallowed. His knowledge will be disappeared. He will have a limited insight to understanding. If he has sharp or quick understanding before, the understanding will be diminished by the act involved in it, especially to the student. And number two thing that always happens to anybody that involved in this attitude and this act of sexual perversion is the person will be destroyed. I think you know that the city of Gomorrah and Sodom was destroyed. So destruction either of financial or material or matrimonial or materials or physical or spiritual is waiting or elsewise for anybody that involved in an act of sexual perversion. Brethren, I remain Oluwarotimi Peter from Reality Global Network. I continue in the next episode. God bless you.